We already took a first look at the Rokid Max 2 and the Station 2 in my first impressions video, and I walked away thinking this might be one of the sharpest display glasses I've used so far. But after a couple of weeks of intense use, I've also found a few quirks that keep it from being perfect. So today we're diving deeper. We'll talk about how it holds up after hours of wear and the real world image quality compared to its competitors, battery life, performance, 3D content, quick one, and whether you actually need the Station 2 or if the glasses alone are enough. If you haven't seen my first impressions yet, that's where I covered the basics like the unboxing, design tour, and a feature rundown. I'll link it here and in the description if you want the full picture. But for now, here's a quick recap. The Rokid Max 2 are lightweight display glasses designed to give you a massive visual screen in front of your eyes. The Station 2 is their companion device that adds 3DoF tracking, stabilization, and a spatial computing OS called Yoda OS Master, letting you run Android apps, multitask, and stream content without needing another device. You can buy them separately or together as the AR Spatial bundle, which is priced at $698 or $578 with the discount code I've linked below. The glasses alone are $429. I still like how Rokid wraps the frame around the optics to hide the bulkier bird-bath lenses. It gives the glasses a cleaner look compared to most display glasses I've tried. Comfort has been more of a mixed experience at 75 grams light, but not dramatically lighter than other display glasses. The nose pads feel great, the arms only get mildly warm. The bigger factor is the temple design. The arms use spring tension to stay secure, which does a great job of keeping the glasses in place, but also that means constant pressure behind my ears. On my head shape, that pressure builds after 2 or 3 hours, so I need to take a short break before putting them back on. To wear them longer, I sometimes shift the arms to take pressure off, but this will vary from person to person, so it might not be an issue for everyone. The clamshell case is still a nice upgrade. It has more space than most display glasses cases, though if you try to fit in too much, the seal is not perfect. Still, the extra room is worth it and makes packing easier. The Rokid Max 2 uses bird bath optics paired with micro OLED displays, which means sharp text, vibrant colors, and a perceived brightness of around 600 nits. Indoors and in dimmer settings, it's fine without the cover, but in bright daylight, you will want the clip-on light blocker. There's no electrochromic dimming here, so tints cannot be adjusted on the fly. Compared to the newer flatter prism lenses on something like the X-Real 1 Pro, bird bath optics have more edge blur, a smaller view-to-view, and some more internal reflections. They're also bulkier, but they cost less to make, and honestly, even with these trade-offs, the image quality here is still good enough for most users, especially if you're watching your budget. The view-to-view is about 50 degrees, which is pretty standard for this type of glasses nowadays. Some pricier models reach around 57 degrees, and while the difference is noticeable, it's not huge. Either way, you still get that rectangular window look, but at 50 degrees, the screen is still big enough that I prefer using it over my phone or gaming console's display. If you're using the Max 2 without the Station, you can connect it directly to any device with USB-C DisplayPort alt mode like a MacBook or Asus ROG Ally, and it will mirror your device's display at 1080p or 1200p per eye depending on the source. Without the Station, there is no built-in stabilization, so the image follows your every head movement, which is fine for watching videos, but for reading or work, even small movements can make text less clear. You also cannot adjust the hinges, and the bird bath optics have a smaller sweet spot, so getting text perfectly sharp can take a bit of fiddling. But you know what takes no fiddling? Hitting that like button. You might notice a little blur and color fringing at the far edges, but the screen stays sharp and fully readable, more than enough for media use. As for audio, actually no complaints here. They sound good enough, so I don't feel the need to plug in my own headphones. At least at home, I haven't had the chance to use these while traveling, unfortunately, but I do think they sound okay and they seem to have enough volume as well. These also have 2 noise cancelling microphones, but I don't use them often because I find that they capture a lot of background noise. Adding the Station 2 changes the Max 2 completely. You get 3 DAW tracking and stabilization, so the screen stays pretty stable even when you move your head. It's not 6 DAW though, so you cannot lean in. You can lock windows in place, recalibrate them with a long press on the home button, or switch to movement mode where the screen follows your head, just like with just the glasses, but with the Station stabilization, it's much smoother and sharper than using the glasses alone. It runs Rokid's Yoda OS Master, which feels like a mix between an Android phone and a laptop. You get a taskbar for quick navigation, access to the Google Play Store and Rokid's own store with spatial apps and third-party store options like Aurora. Sideloading is possible too, and honestly, this new OS packs more features and customization than most similar devices I've tried so far, which is awesome. Inside, it's powered by a Snapdragon 6 Gen 1, 8 gigs of RAM and 128 gigs of storage. It's not the fastest, but for light work, media and gaming and browsing, it is smooth enough. Now, since this is such an open system where you can download almost anything, not every app is optimized for Yoda OS. That means you will run into the occasional bug like navigation acting up. For me, it's worth it because most of the apps I use run fine, but it's something to keep in mind. Theater mode is the most flexible. You can freely drag and resize the screen wherever you want, but it is limited to 1 window. Multi-window mode supports up to 3 at once with preset sizes, ultra-wide, wide, or narrow. I usually go to theater mode for movies and games and switch to multi-window for work so I can keep my script open while having YouTube or lo-fi Zelda music on the side. I have to add here that ultra-wide size is not really ultra-wide. I wish it was wider. Now, stabilization works well if you're sitting still. If you start walking or moving around, the screen can shake too much for reading. Movies are fine, but text isn't really doable while being active. It's an area I'd like to see improved, especially since Xreal's built-in stabilization handles this a bit better. The built-in trackpad works in ray mode where you point like a laser, or a touchpad mode just like on a laptop. I prefer the touchpad mode because it feels natural and I'm lazy and I don't want to move my hands all the time. With Bluetooth 5.2 you can connect keyboards and controllers, though I noticed a little typing delay with my keyboard. It's much less noticeable in games, but for the best experience I would go with the low latency Bluetooth keyboard. Another thing to mention is the fan noise. In a quiet room you notice it, especially if you're watching something with someone else sleeping nearby. I don't really mind it, it's more like ASMR white noise to me, but I can see how it might be distracting for some. The upside is it keeps the station cool during longer sessions, so it's definitely doing its job. When it comes to actually using it, watching a show is always my first big test with display glasses, and here DRM apps are supported, so you can watch Netflix, Disney Plus, Prime Video and more, which isn't always the case with similar devices. And everything I streamed looked nice and sharp, so if you're mostly getting the Max 2 for movies or shows, you're covered. One downside though, DRM apps don't work with the Station's 3 DAW features, so while you can watch Netflix through Station 2, it doesn't feel more stable than just plugging the glasses into your phone. That's a shame. I hope this can be added later. I do enjoy gaming with the Station 2 because of the many options available. Gaming is where the Station 2 makes a real difference. I tried Moonlight for streaming my Steam games and I can play games pretty comfortably. There is some latency though, so really fast-paced games might not be possible, but you know, in theater mode it generally feels like I'm gaming on a massive screen, which is perfect if you just want to sink in. And that is only possible because this has access to the Google Play Store, so There are so many apps available, so whatever you want to do, you can probably do it. And then there is 3D content, and honestly you have to see it in person to get it, because it's not that blurry old school TV 3D. It's pretty clean and adds a surprising amount of depth, just like most display glasses do. It's not different here. I even fired up some 3DS games in the Citra emulator, which you can just get from the Google Play Store, and those games, they looked incredible in this format. Switching to 3D mode is super simple, by the way. You just tap the icon in the corner and pick your format, like side by side. Rokid's own spatial apps are worth a mention too. Most of them are pretty simple, but they use the see-through optics in clever ways to layer stuff over your real surroundings if you're using the glasses without the cover, at least. Now, they're not the kind of apps you'll be running every day, maybe not even every month, but they are more like a fun way to see what the hardware can do. Now you might wonder, can this setup replace a laptop, monitor, phone or console? Honestly, it depends. It won't replace a 4K display or ultra-wide monitor. Windows can feel cramped at 1080p, but doing light work that doesn't need the resolution, or replacing my smaller phone screen, a handheld console, or playing game emulators on a massive virtual screen? Absolutely. It just depends on what you need it for. For battery life, I tested the Station 2 while working on this script with 3 windows open, Bluetooth keyboard connected, and it lasted me roughly 3.5 hours before tapping out. I think you could stretch that a bit longer depending on what you're doing. It's not going to last you a full workday, but you can use it while charging. So for travel, you just want to bring a good power bank. I've been using one I like a lot. I'll link it below in case you're looking as well. As for packing it up, the whole setup is small enough to fit in a backpack or carry-on without taking much space. But when you look at other display glasses like the XR 1 Pro or the Feature Luma Pro, the main difference comes down to stabilization and software features. Now on the XR 1 Pro, it does have built-in stabilization and uses newer prism lenses, which gives you a slightly wider field of view and less edge blur, but it's also more expensive. The Feature Luma Pro, like the Max 2, uses bird path optics, so that looks kind of similar. But it does have stabilization, but that only works if you're using the Luma Pro with a device that can install Feature software, and even then it's not that great. What it does have though is a software feature that everyone's been talking about, AI powered 2D to 3D video conversion. So I'll cover that in detail in my upcoming Luma Pro video, so stay tuned for that one. So yeah, 2D to 3D conversion is not here, but it does have better stabilization and OS in the Station 2. I'll make a big comparison video soon to explain all this in more detail, but which glasses you should get really comes down to what you use them for most and your budget. I can't decide that for you, but I can tell you where I think the Max 2 and Station 2 fit best. If your main goal is watching movies, shows, or gaming on a big virtual screen, the Rokid Max 2 on its own will get the job done and look good doing it. It's not perfect. I would still like a bit more comfort in the temples, but the image is sharp, vibrant, and the lower price point makes it a solid entry into high quality display glasses. Personally, I'm not a big fan of using display glasses without stabilization though, so for me the Station 2 makes the experience much better. If you want more than just media consumption, things like multitasking, 3DoF, stabilization, and a portable mini laptop style setup, I think the Station 2 is worth adding to the bundle. The OS is just straightforward, has plenty of customization options, and the whole setup is small enough to take anywhere. For my personal use, that portability and flexibility are what make it worth keeping around, but only if I can't or don't want to drag a laptop with me. Whether you should get the Max 2 on its own really depends on your needs. There are solid glasses with clear strengths and some trade-offs, just like any other. I'll have a big comparison video soon to help make that choice clearer. But if you're interested already, I have linked it below with my $120 discount code, which brings the bundle down to $578. Now let me know what you think. Would you go for the bundle, or are you just looking for glasses to use with your own devices, and would you pick these or something else? Drop your comments below and don't forget to subscribe because I have so many more display glasses reviews coming soon. Seriously, why are they all releasing all at the same time?